All right. So there's a few ways in which you can really leverage your publishing. So number one, remember that when it comes to publishing on websites, the most commonly read language is writing. With that in mind, you do need to think about how your podcast is translating to writing over and above show notes, which are highly recommended, obviously. So you could obviously be doing long form, you could be doing short form, and multiple other things in between. But in general, consider this. The 500-word blog post from scratch is probably dead. So don't do that. If you want to be doing that, definitely pull it out of your podcast. So what does the typical writing that comes out of a podcast look like? Most often, here's what we see. We see people put together a long set of show notes with like, this guest said this and this host said this, and a lot of quotations and dialogue pulled out. And it's entirely clear from the piece of writing that you're writing about something that was a discussion in a podcast. And I would ask you to challenge that. That is not the only way in which you can use a transcript that comes out of a podcast. In fact, that's probably the level one way to use it. You definitely want something like that, certainly to facilitate with show notes and findability. But beyond that, I think a truly good blog post that comes out of a podcast conversation has to be broken down as follows. First, you've got to introduce a clear point of view, a clear takeaway, a clear hook, a clear story, whatever it might be up front. And that's usually what guides the headline of the blog post. Please don't call it episode 200 with, XYZ, because that's not going to make anyone read in the reading format. That's going to make people find it in the listening format. Instead, really think about the key point that was made. And that's probably not going to become clear until after the blog post is recorded and processed. So start with that and then break it down into anywhere between 2 and 3 sort of demonstration points. So when you look at it like that, you're going to be giving your transcript the average 30-minute interview, 30 to 45-minute interview. You're going to give it so much more legs. Like, you could pull out 2 or 3 points of view to do with different things in it. But that is more advanced and more on that later. For now, really consider breaking it down as follows. Take your writing, break it down as a clear point of view, let that guide the headline, and then go into, 2 to 3 points.